Okay, so we're catching up. We're catching up. Week 3. So week 3 to address. I feel like already off the bat we just addressed the fact that illiteracy isn't really a common known issue, and most of the time it kind of goes unnoticed because oftentimes people will be thinking that illiteracy is oftentimes due to the fact of the person's uh, lack of will to just try to succeed in school. Is more so the blame is put on the person. Essentially, they believe that every person was capable of just being able to just go to school, learn how to read, and that's it. And not being illiterate is kind of due to them because they never really had the drive, or I guess say the will to succeed or to really care about their education enough, which isn't flat out true. Which is why I feel like illiteracy. And then another reason why it often goes unnoticed is because it's not really dealing with either race or gender, which is like a very hot topic, especially during our generation. So I would definitely say that illiteracy is more so due to the fact of the student's ability to learn, and it also could be due to the school's ability to be able to teach these kids how to read, write, and be able to how to understand what they're reading as well. And more so, the biggest part is on the school's ability because, again, each person learns at a different rate or they learn at a different style. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, some people some people are visual learners, auditory learners, some people some people, and there's like other styles of people, the way other people learn. I'm trying to remember some terms, but essentially, again, each student is different and they learn at their own pace and they learn their different styles, going back to that point. And I believe it's the school's job to be able to accommodate their students on that, because especially speaking for me as a person, I'm more of a kinesthetic and visual learner. And so other times I was able to learn through like images, or when people often have to show me how things worked, essentially. And most of the time my school will sometimes they didn't just like, for example, my high school, why I was able to learn so effectively there is because while they were teaching a topic, some would obviously there would be lectures, but other times the teachers would take the time, even during class or even during office hours, just to be able to help teach the kids in their own style way. Like sometimes teachers will have like, blocks and cubes. Like if it was math, they would have like blocks and cubes, or they'll even draw images on the board. However, or they'll even just make the students participate in a class. Like they have them go to this side of the room, had them stacked up like this. They kind of get students more active and more, involved into the learning. And that goes to show how most of the time that if somebody doesn't know how to read or anything, schools never really take the time to really kind of pursue the matter. And oftentimes, kids are often put at a disadvantage, unfortunately, due to these lack of resources or due to this lack of effort into helping them prepare to read and able to understand the reading. And then you can maybe argue that some of it goes into the student's ability to learn, but again, to also adjust the point, it's never on the students, like, because I don't believe that anybody just wants to flat out just not know how to read, because again, it's embarrassing. A lot of times people feel like not only they're at a disadvantage, but people just will feel like an outlaw, essentially, if they didn't know how to read. And it's embarrassing because it's the general norm to always know how to read, essentially. If you're our age, if you're even somewhere around like 10 years old or so, while at some point during childhood, people are expected for you to know how to read, because essentially that's how you get jobs. That's how you learn information. That's how you be able to read a book. That's how you know directions. Essentially. And I guess a lot of times people, even now, there are a lot of grown adults that are often illiterate and don't know what they're reading because they're often afraid to address that issue, which isn't. It's it's also sad because they don't feel like they can, like, because of these norms, they can't be able to speak upon that issue essentially, and it kind of puts them at a disadvantage again, as we said. So, and then also going to a point, schools often have different curricular standards that they hold their students to, which can also give students a disadvantage as well. And because of these different standards and different curriculums, they often don't. I guess you would say they often don't go to the extra measure to make sure that each student is able to adequately learn a certain topic or adequately learn how to read essentially, and other times, and then because there will be some times that students will have learning disabilities, they will have language barriers, and that will also contribute to illiteracy as well. So essentially, my main point goes into being that, again, illiteracy isn't really due to lack of will or lack of trying to be able to learn a different topic. It's more so depending on the school's ability to be able to teach these students and be able to take the time to be able to accommodate to their learning style to be able to read and to kind of help them decrease, like they have also help them decrease the reality that they might grow well into their 40s and not being able to know how to read, which, in some cases, what I'm saying, it doesn't really impact, but it does have an impact towards, I guess you would say, how they're being able to operate, because again, they can miss out on certain pieces of crucial information because of the fact they don't know how to read, and it can inevitably harm them, whether financial aspect, health aspect, etc. Thank you.